So I started this channel as a response to a man that walked out of my life. And I had a lot to say and a lot to sort of sift through, and I had no place to put it at the time. And so I started making videos. And in a way, when I was making the videos, I was talking directly to him. And and I don't know at what point it sort of morphed away from that, but it was a way to sort of excavate my own healing and transform myself when I had no outlet to be able to say what I needed to say, or to explore the things that I wanted to explore at the time. And so what I'm about to say right now is actually in direct relation to that impetus for starting this channel. So ever since my mid-20s, I've pretty much gone through a depression after I've had a breakup, and they're intense depressions, and I've always attributed them to my relationships rather than to what they actually are related to. And that's the part that I want to talk about. What I've discovered over the last couple weeks, and it wasn't that it just became a knowing. I wasn't looking for it, but just through the course of this last breakup that I've had, I've noticed I've not been falling into that old pattern of depression and falling into this deep, dark spiral downward. And part of that is because one, I've been able to cultivate healthier relationships, I think. But two, I finally understand that my depression actually has less to do with the person and more to do with my relationship with what I'm going to call the void, the existential void that we are all kind of avoiding in some way. Essentially death. Because what for me has always happened is that I've felt there's an end, and whatever relationship I had built has changed or diminished or disappeared in some way, and all of a sudden I have no footing underneath there's no floor beneath me. And that leads to like a rupture for me in purpose, a rupture in stability, a rupture in I don't know, in lots of in structure, a rupture in structure. And like I said, I've attributed the depression to the person or the breakup rather than my relationship to the void. And I think now, as I've been meditating daily for a few months, there's become this accumulated effect of like being able to separate myself out of my experiences way better than I ever have before. And also realizing that with this particular relationship, I can reach out in a moment where I feel like I'm falling, where I feel like there is a depression, and I can tap him and be like, hey, I need your attention for a minute, and he'll show up. And I've never felt like that can happen before, so in a way there's a little bit of a safety blanket for me to sort of reach out to and be like, hi, I need some attention, and he'll be like, hey, what's up, and I know he's still there in some way, and our transition is a morphing instead of a severing. And so what it's helping me do is understand that my relationship to the unknown, the chaos, the void, the thing that feels like death is what causes the depression, and not him. Because I felt like, in my sort of more feeling moments. Like I know intellectually that our relationship has not been what either one of us has wanted. And so it's not a place to go back. But yet there's part of me that in darker moments is compelled to reach out and be like, and I have to question, what is that? Because I already know we're not good together. We're not right for each other. But yet part of me is like, wants to grab on. And so it's because I understand now that it's my relationship to the lack of feeling of a floor beneath my feet rather than the lack of him. Because he's there. And what a gift that is to discover that, to be able to see that and change that and be like, oh, he's still there in some way. Like he hasn't disappeared. So I can reach out, and this is like, has nothing to do with him. It has to do with me and death, me and nothingness, me and not having structure or a feeling of a person there. So I guess my question is, if you have a similar experience as I do, I'd like to sort of challenge is not the right word. Ask. One, how do you deal with it? Well, okay, one, have you figured out that your depression is connected to the void rather than the thing that you might have been attributing it to? Was there a discrepancy? Two, how have you learned to deal with it yourself? Like, have you come through it? What tools have you used? And three, well, I don't know if there's a three. I guess that's enough. So I think what I want to do is, for the next Yoga Nidra session, or maybe sessions, I want to focus on making friends with the void, because death is always, it's just something in our culture we don't process well. I think it's important to be able to look at death and the void, whatever. I'm using death as the cover word for the void, but the ends of things, in a way that is more constructive to our spirits. And like I said, so I'm gonna sort of shift our sankalpas to making friends with the void and see what that does. But the next two in October will be October 4th and hold on a second, what did I decide? October 4th and October 18th. So anyway, talk to me about your void, the depression, whatever you know. I would love to hear about it. And I look forward to seeing you over the next couple live streams.